Like in GS fashion, they're a bit early when it comes to their seasonal units. And because of that, it's time to finally show off Valentine's Day Lisa. This has been a long time coming, man. I've been looking forward to this unit ever since she got debuted back in JP. Since everybody does know, we are pretty much in a damage mitigation meta, you know, with characters like Shiro and Beta on top. I was very curious to see how kind of this healer, somewhat Haruto archetype would do in nowadays meta. I have some pretty critical thoughts and just some overall positive impressions of this character. Before we get into this though, huge shout out to my man Mark for allowing me to do this. Without him, this video wouldn't have been possible. Valentine's Day Lisa is, like I said before, this Haruto-esque archetype where we have Arch-Gen and healing. However, her Arch-Gen is just a straight burst of arts on top of healing. And everything else in the kit kind of helps support this healer role, like her art being able to cure all status effects and reduce the enemy's magic res, the super art being able to give everybody more damage, and if you also count her abilities, being able to increase how much healing the team receives if she is the leader. In terms of her slots, she has a 5-star magic, 5-star support, and 4-star heal. Pretty good stuff here, and pretty much actually, I just not thought about, these are the Haruto slots. In terms of best in slot here for 5-star magic, anything that's going to be giving her burst of art shit is going to be great. You want to make sure she's able to get into that true art whenever she needs it. The 5-star support, AoE Arch-Gen if you have anything. If you don't have those, then any single target Arch-Gen item like Lesser Demon Heart will be great. For 4-star heal, I highly recommend going with a burst heal item or going with Blessed Necklace or a Cleanse. In terms of crest slots on this character, art gauge up, equipment CT. You could also go heal amount up if you want to buff up her healing even more. Of course, though, that's entirely up to you. Now, when it comes to actually team building with this character, and you'll see this in this video, you can put her anywhere. These types of characters are designed to be used literally in any kind of team comp with any single unit in the game. I was very curious to see just how good the 10% HP heal will be with damage mitigation. In theory, if you have damage mitigation on top of healing, or any type of healing, let me say, to an extent, you have more, I guess you would say, effective HP, right? Where yes, sure, you only have 8k, but in reality, you're healing for 10%, you're reducing damage by 40%, you know, that 8k could be instead like, you know, around 12, 14,000 or whatever. I'm not going to do the math here because, you know, that's boring. No one wants to know that. One thing I will tell you though about this unit's kit is that I would highly recommend whenever you get into the fight, instantly go into that true art as soon as you can to give the burst of 50 art gauge to everyone. And then after that, I would say maybe use the true art every time the heal buff falls off, which by the way, it is extremely short. It's only a 10-second duration, so it's falling off left and right. Or if you want to, you can decide to go into the art or that super art. Me, myself, I really just wanted that true art going off all the time, just for the simple fact that 50 art gauge, every single time I have 2 in an art gauge, the constant heal, you know, I wanted that. I never wanted that heal to fall off. And to an extent, it feels like you're almost playing BF Emperor when you use this character, which is both a positive and a negative because BF Emperor is, of course, a very powerful character, but my God, do I hate having to manage his durations. And I kind of get the same feeling with Lisa. In this fight, though, you can see that we're doing perfectly fine. The Arch-Gen is fantastic, along with just one other Arch-Genner we have on the team. Mind you, we have a burst Arch-Genner with a overtime Arch-Genner, so stuff's really working out. I mean, I guess you can say Diablo's also an Arch-Genner, right? But, we're not going to count him right now. The Arch-Gen was incredible. The sustain was actually insane, and there was a few times where it got a little dicey, and, the barrier did fall off, but because we had the healing on top of the damage mitigation and everything else, we were able to stay full HP. Now, even though I did say that you want to use mainly that true art for majority of the fights, you can opt in for that super art. If you ever have enough Arch-Gen just to go straight into that super art, hey man, let it rip, especially if you know there's no burst damage coming through in a second, then you can absolutely let that thing go. I would highly advise against it if you know the fight and hey, this guy's about to pop his true art, or this guy's about to do his threshold attack, or something like that. That's where I would say, really be on top of that true art, just so you can always have that healing. And as you see here, we pretty much do our thing, and Holy Knight Roy gets absolutely obliterated. Now, the next thing we decided to fight was the one and only Uga, aka Dark Light Dragon. This is another fight where I just wanted to, show how crazy this unit is in terms of just using her on literally any single team. When it comes to taunt tanks, damage mitigation units, when it comes to using her with like BF Emperor or anybody, she literally fits with everyone. Another huge plus about this character is that she is not an overtime Arch-Genner, so she does not have an Arch-Gen typing. One thing that I will say though about this is that this was actually my least favorite duo out of every single like support slash attacker duo we did in this entire video. BF Emperor's Archon only lasts for 10 seconds, so you have to be on top of it, and you pretty much want to just be spamming his art and then maybe his true art, and you know, maybe squeeze in a super art here and there. But if you squeeze in a super art, it's very likely that true art's going to fall off, and even if you are spamming your true art only, it's very likely it's still going to fall off. This is why I actually had to opt in for Shadow here to hopefully give a bit more Archon to the team to make it to where BF Emperor could be a bit more consistent. But if you decided to use Lisa alongside someone like Hoka or someone else that had a bit more duration, this wouldn't be an issue. It's just something to keep in mind if you are going to be using these two together. Now, the next thing I wanted to test out was how good is Lisa's healing? Can Lisa's healing kind of survive a threshold attack, so to speak? Without any kind of damage mitigation on the team, is it necessarily possible to out-heal damage? And, well, not really. I mean, we could have went like super sustained with this fight and used something like True Centurion as well on the Lisa to try to get as much healing as possible during one of his big like threshold attacks. But as you see with this nuke going into the second phase, there wasn't necessarily enough healing. Now, there was enough healing, surprisingly, for the other 3 units on the team, but not for the one that he was targeting, which of course he's going to be dealing crits to work out Finn. In this exact setting, it was like, man, dude, this is the reason, chat, that they don't allow overtime healing to stack. Because if they allowed overtime healing to stack, like you could use this character with Haruto or any other percentage-based healer, you could wind up getting situations where they can't damage you because you're dealing so much healing, and you would have to rely on bosses that deal just a massive amount of burst to one-shot the team. So it was interesting, and I definitely feel like that it could have been possible. Maybe if we switched around some equips and used stuff that was buffing up our stats and getting our max HP stat higher using True Centurion, it may have been completely likely that we would have been able to clear with exclusively Valentine's Day Lisa kind of sustaining the team. Definitely feel like that with a character like this, it is very close to being a little bit broken. For example, if we ever get a character in the future that gives, let's say, damage mitigation on top of a heal amount buff, a character like Valentine's Lisa could get extreme amounts of value. You're getting so much healing with so much DR. It's like, well, how do you beat that, right? Like if a boss fights that, there's no way a boss can kind of just mitigate that unless like they just deal insane amounts of damage or they have like a heal over time killer or something else. The main part about this unit that is insane for everybody in the game, whether you're new, old, doesn't matter, is that true art. The instant 50 art gauge along with the healing is massive for your team. The art being able to cleanse is great, but it doesn't give stat res. If it gave stat res, incredible, you know, instantly makes this unit 1,000 times better, but it only cleanses and it gives magic res down. Like for an example, against Ultimate Paladin Roy, you can't just cleanse and, you know, be like, okay, I'm good. You really need that stat res to be able to keep fighting against his constant freeze res down and of course his constant freeze procs he does to you. And let me not even get started on the super art. The super art, I feel like they just do that on there. This character is still phenomenal. She has Archon, she has the healing, you got a damage up, you know, even though it is a little bit small and it's not as impactful as some other damage ups we have in the game, this is an incredible unit if you're brand new. Like, I could see new players latching onto this character and using this character as a crutch character, you could say, where it's like, I can't clear content without this unit, which is it a bad thing? Maybe, because it possibly promotes really bad habits when it comes to like team building, thinking that you need to rely on a healer or needing to rely on just this unit, especially when you have maybe other characters at your disposal that would keep your team protected to where you don't need to heal. But all in all, this character is definitely going to do a lot more good than, let's say, bad for the game. If I had to sum it all up, I would say this unit is a very strong low S tier, possibly high A tier in my eyes. Has a lot of the stuff of a good unit and it's going to be very solid, going to be a godsend for new players. But for the vets, you guys already know, you know, do we really need a unit like this nowadays? Absolutely not. You know, we don't. But hey, that's gonna be it for this one, man. Thank you all for hanging out. Tell me down below what you all think about Valentine's Day Lisa. Do you hate this character? Do you love her? Do you just feel about her? Let me know all that type of stuff down below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, have me check out either one of the other videos popping on the screen right now. Great content, guarantee you love them. Oh, and one thing before you leave, don't forget to drink water.